So I try to get as much speed as I can through this corner. I try to take as much exit speed. And I get checked up a little bit there, but I'm still able to be right on this guy's bumper. And I know that the straight is super, super, super long. So I can just draft this guy all the way up, and I should be able to pass him. But he also has a draft, so as soon as I pop out to make this pass, I know that he's going to have a draft and I won't. But fortunately, you'll see up here, if you look at this guy in the black car, I don't know, maybe it was the teeth. I think it was the teeth that I have on my car. He decides to come over and give me his draft, not the other guy. So now he kind of pulls me past the car to my right. You can see I'm clear on the right now. It must have been the teeth. Hi, this is Groove Slick here, another race review, this time Porsche Cup Series at the Nürburgring. My second standing start in probably the past 2 years, and you want to know how well my first standing start went the past 2 years. That was earlier today, where I got up to a terrible start, lost about 10 positions, and then ended up obliterating this guy who doesn't hold the brakes. He flies up in the air, lands on top of me. My spotter says I'm clear, but I don't know how clear I can be if there's a car directly on top of me. So anyways, with that in my mind, I'm trying not to mess this start up again, and tons of wheel spin. It looks very cool in the cameras. It's not very fast. I get off to a slow start. A car flies behind me on the left. The guy actually comes up on my right side here. I didn't see that until much later. We end up in the worst first corner in probably all of motorsport. Very slow, very cumbersome. Everyone's falling all over each other, but we make it through cleanly. And now I'm just trying to start up to a clean race. I still am having nightmares from the previous race and trying to just not crash basically at this point and kind of feel out the competition. So now I have this blue Felbermeyer Porsche in front of me. Love that livery. And just trying to see where he's fast or he's slow. He brakes a bit earlier than I'm expecting, and I look like an idiot. Have to lock up the brakes. This guy passes me, and I kind of go to a really awkward moment here. I kind of go to check up to give him space to go in the corner. He checks up to give me space, and we both kind of go half speed through the corner. The car is coming up behind me, and this is becoming insanity very quickly. You see this guy to my right here. I hold it deep on the brakes. I'm starting to get my composure for this race. I'm able to hold this position, although he does here. He is on my inside, kind of another awkward position, same as kind of the previous corner. I give him room, he kind of tries to give me room, but we all end up cleanly. And now we're leaving. This is the Grand Prix track. You see it's nice and wide. The walls are far away, plenty of room to go. If you make a mistake, it's not too big of a deal. We're heading now we take this left turn onto the Nordschleife. Much more narrow and impossible to pass. So what is going through my mind here, and what this video is about, is how to pass on the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife specifically. Much easier to pass on the Grand Prix track, but this, as you can see, is much narrower out here. It's really one-track racing, and you have to be super careful and super committed in order to make a pass on the Nordschleife. So we can see here this is definitely all single file, and at this point I'm kind of reading the competition, seeing if it is even possible for me to pass them. It looks like for me right now, this blue car is maybe slightly slower, and the black car is slightly faster. So that's kind of what's going through my head right now. So a little bit about this race. As I think I mentioned before, it's about a 25-minute race, 3 laps. So with this track, about 75% of it you can't really pass on. So you spend about 3/4 of your lap if you're behind a car that's slower, just kind of easing off, giving them room, and not really trying to cause them to make any mistakes that would cause you to crash into them. So you see here, on these faster sections, I actually kind of lift off the gas a bit. It'll be much more noticeable going down this hill here. I'm kind of right on both of their tails here. And if one of them makes a mistake, they're going to hit that wall, and they're going to bounce right back on the track in front of me, and that'll be my day done as well. So if you listen here, I'll be quiet for a second. Actually backed out of the gas right there, if you noticed that. That was just to give them room, and they end up actually kind of overshooting that corner a bit, and I just kind of gave them room, gave them space. If they're going to make a mistake, I did not want to be involved in it. But they get through there cleanly. And now it's just about kind of showing them that I am faster, so I want to put pressure on them. And if you didn't notice it from the photo, I'm the car with the teeth, so I'm hoping kind of also those teeth might intimidate them as well a bit. You'll see maybe that works later. But I'm trying to just give them room, give them space, let them try to not make too many mistakes. Because we also, you can't really see here, but there is a car right in my mirrors. You can kind of see it right there, right in my rear view. So there's probably 5 of us right here, all in a nice train. So I'm trying to kind of manage the car behind me, manage the car in front of me. But all of us know that really you cannot pass here. All of this area here is one track, one lane. But I'm also still, with that, still kind of trying to analyze the dynamics here, analyze who's looking more aggressive, who's looking less aggressive, who's willing to defend positions, and who's happy to get positions up, or isn't going to fight too hard for them. I noticed through this corner, this right-hander specifically, we're much slower than I'm used to being through there. I usually have about 2 to 3 green lights on my dash going through that corner, and that's what revs I'm at. And that time we were below 1, didn't even have 1 green light. So it seems like there's a good amount of speed that I can carry through there that this blue car can. And now heading onto this straight, again, you can just see how close we all are together. I'm just trying to back off and not cause anything too crazy to happen. I think the other cars are thinking the same thing as well. Now I have to warn you, there are some truly graphic, grisly images in this last section. If you have kids watching you, tell them to look away. If you thought me obliterating the car in the flashback was bad, this is truly terrible. Come into the carousel, I go in, boom, car pops out. Unforgivable. Guy drives up my inside. Easiest pass he's ever made. That grotesque imagery out of the way, we can get on to the rest of the race. So I find myself now starting in 2nd, now I'm back to 5th. I'm definitely faster than the cars ahead, but I made 2 mistakes and that put me back 2 positions. So I need to just take a deep breath and relax. I know I have the speed. Really, it's all about just trying to stay as close as you can to the car in front of you without either of you crashing until you get to one of the few passing opportunities, which are either the Dottingham or the Grand Prix track, which is much wider, and you can take different lines. Quickly, I'll just briefly mention the car driving. So the last video I made was in the GT4 car, which has a new iRacing V7 tire model. And frankly, I'm getting pretty tired of driving that car. You just have no grip whatsoever in the rear tires. There's no feel for the grip in the rear tires. It's like you're driving. You get to a certain point where it's like you're driving on ice almost. And it's just, there's no feedback. And you can see here, you'll see a lot of these corners coming out right there. I have opposite lock almost all the time coming out of the corner. And it's not challenging with this car. The car's telling you what I'm doing, and I know the grip is there, so I feel comfortable to let the car slide a bit. Whereas in the Cayman GT4, you're not really able to do that. So I've actually really enjoyed starting to race this car. I think I'm going to race it a lot more often. So this is on the older tire model. So I'll keep racing it until they put the new tire model on, unless they're able to fix the issues with the back tire grip. But you can see here now, this is the one passing opportunity there is on the Nordschleife, or maybe one, we'll see later. So I try to get as much speed as I can through this corner. I try to take as much exit speed, and I get checked up a little bit there, but I'm still able to be right on this guy's bumper. And I know that the straight is super long, so I can just draft this guy all the way up, and I should be able to pass him. But he also has a draft, so as soon as I pop out to make this pass, I know that he's going to have a draft and I won't. But fortunately, you'll see up here, if we look at this guy in the black car, I don't know, maybe it was the teeth. I think it was the teeth that I have on my car. He decides to come over and give me his draft, not the other guy. So now he kind of pulls me past the car to my right. You can see I'm clear on the right now. It must have been the teeth. But now I'm up on this guy's tail, and he gave me room earlier, so I feel confident that he's not going to do anything too crazy. We take a lot of speed in through here. He looks like he's a little wheel spin coming out of there. I'm on his bumper again. I see he pulls all the way to the left. The next turn is a right turn, so the fact that he pulls to the left is showing me that I have plenty of room to make a pass on him. He's not going to defend his position really at all. So I go up the inside. He makes it very easy for me. Easy on the brakes. And if you're really eagle-eyed, you saw that a car just went flying through my rearview mirror. Try to rewind. Try to see if you can see right at the apex, the car goes flying through my rearview mirror. I didn't realize at the time of the race, but looking back, I'll show you a video at the end. I've been hit off probably more than half my races this year. I've been hit from behind by someone doing something like that. And he was trying to do it, but he just missed. So he wasn't trying to do it, but he came very close. So anyways, now I'm behind this blue car, the Felbermeyer Porsche. Kind of where I started, but not really, because I started in second and I had a terrible start. So we're going to say this is where I started, even though I really started in second. But I was never really in second because I had such a bad start. But this guy, it seems like he hasn't been defending aggressively or anything, but he's just been kind of a bit slower than me. So I know that I'm trying to make a gap on the people behind me and try to give this guy enough room that we can kind of start to make some ground, make some space. I'm thinking that he started in third position, meaning he had a decent qualifying time. So he should be able to make a bit of a gap on the cars behind. He should be a bit faster. So I think if I give him some space, give him some room, we might be able to do this. You can see there through the mirror, we have a pretty good gap back behind us. Now it's just us two. I think giving him a bit of that space, make him feel a bit more comfortable. He didn't feel like there's someone right in his gearbox. It's incredible. The Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, you don't get the sense of it from watching this video, but it is terrifying. There is death around every corner, and you're spending so much of your time just trying not to crash into the wall. So having another car up your bumper while that's happening, or in his case it was 4 cars up his bumper in the first lap, while you're trying to not kill yourself and go into the wall. It's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of distraction. So I think just kind of giving him that space allowed him to get a gap, and now we both have a gap behind us. But I still want to get by him. And I noticed, I mentioned on the first lap, about 8 minutes ago, that coming up there is a right-hander that he was pretty slow out of. Since it's uphill, you can actually throw a lot of speed into the corner, and he was treating it as if it was a flat corner, not an uphill corner. So here, I throw in a lot more speed than he does. I carry a ton of speed through the apex, and I'm on his tail. And there's actually a left-hand kink right here, the Lauda left. And on the other side of it, there's this right-hander that leads onto a long straight. You really want to get a good exit from it. And it's banked. You see it's banked right here on the outside. So I carry that speed on the outside, and I make the pass around the outside. So you can pass on the Nordschleife. But I felt pretty good about myself without that pass. he definitely gave it to me. He was not trying to fight me. I think, and as I look at the relative there, I almost go off the track. I almost crashed. I said death is around every corner, and I almost KO'd myself. But looking at the replay, I'll show you the replay at the end of this. He definitely gave me some space. Definitely gave me room. He wasn't trying to fight it at all. And kind of cooler heads prevailed. Let me know if you think that was too aggressive from the pass to make, and if he had to back out of it in the comments below. But I think it was a good pass. And let me know if you think there are any other passing areas around the Nordschleife besides the Donninger hole and that corner. And I guess the carousel if you miss it like I did. I'll kind of talk you through this section. It's fast, left-hander there, flat out. Easy brake, you want to hold the car to the left here, and then you turn in, let the car go over the crest, touch the curb on the brakes over the crest, just touch the curb on the apex. Now coming to the left. This one you don't need a brake for, just lift off the gas a bit, right back on the gas, on the brakes, down left, miss this curb, and then clobber this curb, half the car over that curb. Now coming into fourth gear, late apex, run a lot of speed to that corner. It's uphill. This one, the car just doesn't want to turn in. It understeers. I need to go down to third gear just to get the car to turn a bit. Up to fourth, right back down to third. Car wants to understeer again there. All the way over the curbs, half the car over the curbs. This one down to third gear. The car gets light over the top because you're coming over that crest. And now this one, every time I think I'm on the power too late, but as soon as I get on the power, I realize I got on too early. Now this one, easy flat out here. Going through this little jump. Mini Flugplatz, I'm not sure what it's called, maybe it's called that, into this double right. This the car's really sketch here. I'm just off the gas a little bit. You can see here, if you look at the relative down there, it says minus 6.7. That shows you how much faster I was in the previous lap. If you go back to the start of the sector, you'll see that without the other cars in front of me in the sector, I took a 1.2 second gap. You'll see I can't see the car in the mirror anymore. I'm flying through here. This car just feels so nice. I can really put it on the limit. Now through the Kleine Carousel, and then looking back on the Donninger Ho. One lap ago, I was in 5th place. Now I am in 2nd place. Mostly because people let me pass. Probably because of the teeth on the front of my car. Anyways, that was basically it. Now we're just taking you into the end of the race. Nothing else really happened, just kind of took it easy from there. Well, as easy as you can take it on the Nordschleife. And coming home in 2nd place. So started 2nd, finished 2nd. Easy, right? No drama. Now we'll do a couple of replays. First one, this is what I was telling you about where I almost got annihilated. I am in the car passing up to the right there, and we see on his inside, this guy comes flying in. I don't know how he misses me. Honestly, it looks. I know he wasn't, but it looks like he was trying to hit me. I know he wasn't, but it looks like it. And then we'll see the second replay. He passing the Felbermeyer Porsche. I mean, he definitely gives it to me. He was definitely nice to me. He could have pushed it into this braking zone, but he lets me have it. Cooler heads prevailed. Replay of the start to finish it off here. I get tons of wheel spin. This guy looks like he's absolutely launched out of a cannon. Flies up on my right. I don't quite see him. Comes in. He almost goes into the grass there, and there's carnage behind me. A car goes flipping in the background. We make it through side by side. I give him room. He gives me room. Somehow make it through the worst corner in motorsport. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave it a like, subscribe if you like this content, and I'll be making more of it. Thank you so much.